Now the Honourable Minister of Finance will reply to the discussion. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you very much, Chairman, sir. There's been a very robust discussion on the budget. I understand 83 speakers have participated in the discussion, and that actually shows the interest that honourable members have taken on the topic. After a brief introduction, which I would like to begin with, I'd go by issues, clubbing several members who have spoken on a particular issue, and so on for various different issues. And I'll also try to refer to the names of the honourable members who have raised these issues and while answering. Sir, this budget of 24-25 is actually a continuation of the interim budget. So the features of the interim budget, the critical aspects of it, are naturally subsumed into this regular budget. And since 2014, the principle which has guided us is the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas, which continues in this budget as well, and hopefully will guide for the next 5 years. The 5 years being, this set of 5 years being very critical in taking the first steps towards building a Vikasit Bharat by 2047. This budget strikes a fine balance amongst several overriding priorities. Growth, employment, welfare spending, capital investments, and fiscal consolidation are all equally given a place, and we've tried balancing all of them. Sir, I had promised in this House in 21-22 the government would endeavour to attain a fiscal deficit to the GDP level below 4.5% by the year 25-26. We had reached an unprecedented high number of 9.2% in 2021, and we are well on track to attain that target. According to the IMF, India's share in the global growth is 16%, and it is also rising. While this budget seeks to consolidate our earlier accomplishments, I have announced a slew of measures aimed at providing renewed impetus to the manufacturing sector. I would just like to take a few minutes on expanding on this. The aim is to boost domestic employment, create employment opportunities, and ensure high and sustained increase in India's share in the global GDP over the next 5 years. Several measures have been taken. In this budget in particular, we had mentioned about the basic customs duty, which has been reduced, and on specific items, together with the production-linked incentives given for mobiles. India now already produces 97% of all the total mobile phones in demand in the country, and 30% of total production in India in the year 24 has gone for exports exclusively. So, India's production-linked incentive scheme stands out as a successful scheme, taking this one example, and in the other 13 sectors, 14 together, 13 sectors also, we see a lot of interest in investing and producing so that India becomes a manufacturing hub. The production link incentive scheme, which was brought in because we wanted to attract a lot of investment into India, is seeing a lot of interest and continues to see a lot of interest in investors. Further, in this budget, we also set up a critical mineral mission for domestic production and for recycling of critical minerals. We also are envisaging overseas acquisition of critical mineral assets. Further, we fully exempted customs duty on 25 critical minerals and reduced the basic customs duty on 2 of them. 2 were differentiated from the rest for particular reasons. So reduction in 2 and full exemption for 25 other critical minerals. I've also announced, sir, the development of investment-ready plug-and-play industrial parks in and around 100 cities of India. So that would immediately be a big attraction for people to come and set up businesses, being closer to cities that will enable them to have good skilled workforce to be employed. We are working towards establishing 3 centers of excellence in top education institutions for realizing the vision of Make AI in India and Make AI Work for India. That was mentioned in Budget 22-23. We are further strengthening the artificial intelligence excellence centers being built in top education institutions. So in March 2024, government approved e-vehicle policy to promote India as a manufacturing destination so that e-vehicles with the latest technology can be manufactured in our country. So furthermore, I go back to the point that I had made in 2021 budget about the new public sector enterprises policy, which clearly opened up all sectors in India for private participation also. Public sector will continue in critical core sector and strategically important sectors, but private sector has been now allowed into every sector, none of which is reserved for public sector alone. I take the example of the space sector, sir, here. Opening up has helped, and today space sector startups are receiving funds, and India is now becoming a big hub for space sector innovation and space sector startups. The recent newspaper announcements have been clearly stating the kind of investment interest which is being generated. The figures are not readily available with me, but I know that $126 million funding was received by startups in 2023. But that continues, the flow continues. Further, both in the last year's budget and this year's, sir, we have allocated resources for the National Research Foundation under the National Research Foundation Act of 2023. This time also Anusandhan National Research Foundation has had allocation be made. Last year itself we declared 50,000 crores for over 5 years for research for research along with private sector. So in these ways we have tried making India an attractive manufacturing destination and given good incentives and impetus for manufacturing to set up business in India. So a brief look at some highlights of the numbers that I want to speak about. The total expenditure in the Union government's budget statement 24-25 is 48.21 lakh crores. The total expenditure in the regular budget 24-25 is 54,744 crores more than that of the interim budget which was presented in 1st February this year. So the highlight that I would like to draw the attention of the honorable members is that capital expenditure is pegged at 11 lakh crores, and this is one of the biggest ever allocation made for capital expenditure, and this shows a 17% increase over the provisional actuals of February of FY 23-24. Over the last year, 17% increase over the last year. But in this context, I would like to highlight one important fact about the capital expenditure which happened during the UPA era. Capex allocation was 13.19 lakh crores between 2004-5 to 2013-14. The 10 years of UPA saw 13.19 lakh crores, whereas during our 10 years ending 2024, the allocation for capital expenditure is 43.82 lakh crores. So the emphasis that we've given, particularly after COVID, for the capital expenditure being one of the very important routes through which the economy revival can be planned, has actually shown result, but the actual numbers are these. So there is also interest among members to know if the transfer to the states has been proper and as has been recommended by the finance commissions. I would like to underline that our unflinching commitment to cooperative federalism, the total resources proposed to be transferred to the state this year, 24-25, is estimated to be 22.91 lakh crores. This actually entails an increase of about 2.49 lakh crores over 23-24. Even compared to last year, it's an increase of about 2.49 lakh crores. Similarly, the outlays for all union territories has also increased from 61,118 crores in 23-24 to 68,660 crores in 24-25. So the states and the union territories are clearly getting in time the resources which are expected to be released for them. Although the budget documents have details of different schemes, I'm moving over to this point about sectoral allocations. So there is this interest to know if the allocations for certain particular sectors have increased or decreased. I would like to just give a comparative picture, sir. Agriculture and allied sectors in 24-25 received 1.52 lakh crores, which is 8,000 crores more than the last year. There is no reduction. Just for comparison, 2013-14, when the UPA government term was over, they had given only 30,000 crore. 30,000 crore then, 1.52 lakh crores now. Sir, education, employment and skilling, 1.48 lakh.
Please, honorable members, Finance Minister is speaking. Please. Yes. Honorable Finance Minister.
Sir, 24-25 budget for education, employment and skilling is 1.48 lakh crores, and it is 28,000 crores more than the last year, whereas again 2013-14 it was only 85,000 crores. Women and girls, 3.27 lakh crores in the current budget, which is 41% more allocation, 96,000 crore more allocation compared to the previous year. 96,000 crores it was in 2013-14. Similarly, for rural development, sir, 24-25, the current budget gives 2.66 lakh crores, 28,000 crores more than compared to last year, and it was just 87,000 crores in 2013-14. Urban development, 83,000 crores and 7,000 crores more than the last year, 12,000 crores in 13-14. Health and social welfare, sir, 1.46 lakh crores. Compared to last year, it is 74,000 crores more. 3,000 crore more than last year and 74,000 crores more than 2013-14. So I also already mentioned about the fiscal deficit. I just want to highlight that we had projected 5.1% of the GDP as the fiscal deficit in the interim budget, whereas now, when we presented the regular budget for this year, it has been brought down further to 4.9%, and we aim to reach the deficit below 4.5% next year, sticking to the glide path given in 2021. And it was also said in the budget speech that from 26-27 onwards, our endeavor will be to adhere to a path that ensures that the central government's debt as a percentage of GDP is on the declining trend. Our focus will be on that. So I'd like to mention in this August House that the average weighted average yield, which is broadly the one which corresponds to the average cost of borrowing of the central government securities issued during the 10-year period of 2014-15 to 2023-24 is lower by about 60 basis points than the period between 2004-5 to 13-14. This is, and I'm giving a very notional idea, sir, but it helps to put things in perspective. If the borrowings in UPA 1 and UPA 2 were near the rates obtained by us, I know it is determined by so many other factors, market and so on, but if the borrowings in the UPA 1 and 2 were near the rates obtained by us, which could have been possible if they had our policies and our kind of credibility, it would have resulted in notional interest savings of approximately 35,000 crores for the government. Just to bring in the perspective, it can always be questioned saying, oh, how can you bring in notional? But it's a perspective, sir. This points to recognition of this government's fiscal management and the management by the and this observation, the government's fiscal management prowess is an object. It's an observation of global observers, domain experts, and of course dispassionate economists, that the fiscal management of this government, which is a typical good feature which the Honorable then CM of Gujarat and now PM of country has always maintained fiscal prudence as one of the very important governance principles. Honorable members, therefore, would be pleased to know that with all these governance macroeconomic stability related features, the IMF has recently upgraded India's gross domestic product growth in the year 24-25 to 7%. So from an exceptionally low hit GDP growth during COVID, within a few years to rise to be the fastest growing economy in the world, I think could not have been possible without the hard work and toil of all Indians, irrespective of the sectors in which they are, farmers, workers, informal sector workers, construction workers, and all the entrepreneurs, the MSMEs and so on, and the visionary leadership which has a futuristic vision, because from the front the Prime Minister leads the economy, we are able to achieve this goal. So I also presented the budget for the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. I just want to highlight a few important features before I move on to responding to honorable members' issues which they had raised on the budget. So I'm happy to inform that the concrete steps that have been taken by the Union Territory administration to free itself from the legacy fiscal distress related issues which they had inherited from the erstwhile state. And this has borne good results. With substantial financial support given by the Government of India, 17,000 crores have been provided as support in the Union Budget of UT this year. The fiscal deficit to GSDP ratio of the Union Territory of J&K is estimated at 3% for the financial year 24-25. there is clearly a sign that public finances of UT of Jammu and Kashmir is now back on the rails. The government has worked very hard, unhindered, towards fulfilling the development aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir with great sense of fiscal responsibility. Because I'm dealing with Jammu Kashmir budget now and later I go to the general budget, there are issues which have been raised about J&K budget which has been tabled in this House, both inside and outside of this august House. Now, I take this opportunity with your permission, sir, to address issues which have been raised in this House and equally because of importance given of those issues which have been raised outside as well. So the first issue is borrowings have risen from 12,000 crores to 24,000 crores in the last 2 years, and it is unprecedented and it shows fiscal mismanagement. This is an allegation. I'd like to respond, sir. Unlike other states and union territories, J&K has been plagued with pressures from externally sponsored terrorism. This is not a secret, all of us know it. In addition, historical legacy of poor governance, and I reiterate this point, sir, historical legacy of poor governance and low revenue base had created a situation of near perpetual distress and dependence on the union government. Just no way in which the state could have run without the union helping them, and that is how the main feature of J&K's state's budget was and also the economy was. With given this kind of a legacy inheritance that we've got, as part of the efforts to correct lingering fiscal distortions and for enabling transparent disclosure of the fiscal situation, the Union Territory Administration has brought off-budget borrowings onto its books. This has been done within the borrowing ceiling allowed to the Union Territory in each of the years which have gone by. So this is something which I have to state with conviction, that the UT was permitted to undertake additional borrowings against unutilized borrowing space from the previous years to take off-budget borrowings on the budget and finance its expenditure commitments. So the questions also, or the allegations also were that fiscal deficit was pegged at 1.6% and it has turned to 5.36 in FY24, more than 3 times the original estimate. And also that the capex has been slashed by 10%. The question therefore was, will the central government take blame for fiscal profligacy at the state level? I'd like to dispel any confusion in the minds of people. Along with the special support of 17,000 crore which has been announced in this budget from the union government, several other things are happening along with the efforts in recent past would reduce the fiscal deficit, and I hope it will reduce the fiscal deficit to 3.3% actually in 24-25. So it's not just the 17,000 crores that has been given as a special support, but also because of the efforts which are being put in the last few years, I think fiscal deficit will be back at 3%. While tax revenues, sir, have seen impressive growth, efforts on metering has improved billing and collection efficiency in the power sector, and that has also resulted in non-tax revenues increasing from 5,148 crores in 22-23 to 6,500 crores in 23-24. It's a big reform step that has been taken, well received by the people, and as a result of which we are able to have collection efficiency in the power sector. And I appreciate the J&K administration for having taken this effort, which is showing results for its own benefit. The Union Territory has also very important points, and this is a point which I submit to your consideration and for the August House to recognize, that the Union Territory has discontinued the earlier practices of running hundis and overdrafts from J&K Bank for its day-to-day cash management. This was a feature, sir. Every year, this would literally be a burden on J&K Bank and equally a lazy comfort for the administration that they could do this operation with the J&K Bank and get away with being transparent in the way in which they handled their accounts. I'm glad that this practice has been discontinued. During the last 4 years, the J&K Bank has made a remarkable turnaround from a loss-making bank of 1,139 crores of rupees in 2019-20. The bank has now made a profit of 1,700 crores in the year 23-24. So that is the kind of turnaround and that's the kind of efficiency with which the bank is now performing, being run professionally since after 2019. Capital expenditure for the Union Territory, sir, has also increased from 10,634 crore rupees 22-23 to 12,101 crore in 23-24. So recording a 13.8% growth. So J&K Union Territory and their situation is in a healthy fiscal situation, being able to meet the development aspirations of the state. One other point of criticism, if I may say so, has been that the state's tax to GDP ratio increased from 5 to 8% in 3 years. Does this mean the people of J&K are subject to heavy taxation without any corresponding increase in their welfare? This is one of the questions asked. I like to highlight, sir, that the J&K situation, J&K's higher tax to GDP ratio is due to better compliance and effective monitoring of the taxation system. I like to mention that with the introduction of GST, tax rate across the country is the same on all GST products. The rate of taxation on non-GST items are either at par with other states or only lower and not higher in J&K. Revenues from GST, motor spirit tax, excise, stamp duties were 9,467 crores in 2019-20. It has increased to 13,903 crores in the year 23-24. So the administration is showing efficiency in collecting from non-GST tax also. And as a result, the fiscal health of the state is also improving. So the UT has also given care to expand the dealer registrations, improved GST return compliances, initiated a lot of e-stamping systems, and conducted transparent excise auctions. Very important, sir. Transparent excise auctions. So that itself gives a lot of confidence about the way in which J&K administration is moving. On the employment rates, sir, 15 to 59-year-olds, the unemployment rate has come down from 6.4% in 2020-21, gradually to 5.7% in 21-22, and to 4.4% in 22-23. This has become possible because of substantial public investments that have led to creation of avenues of employment opportunities. Sir, I'd like the honorable members and yourself, the honorable chair, sir, to listen to the next issue, for which I will give my response. But I'm a bit concerned about the way this kind of a charge has been made on the union government. Sir, the allegation is, and I read it, perhaps the most worrying development is the FM's announcement that the union government has agreed to take the entire burden of the budget of police in J&K by spending 12,000 crores. It further goes to say this was earlier being done by the union government as part of the security reimbursement expenditure. Why has that been repackaged from a reimbursement situation, is the question. Further, has the police salary liability been taken over by the union government in perpetuity, is also a question. To add to it, and this is the most interesting part, sir, does it reflect the government's intention to rule the state from Delhi in perpetuity by retaining home affairs of J&K with the union government? Will the FM commit in the House that taking over police salary liability is not a Trojan horse? I'd like to respond to this, sir. The scheme on reimbursement of security-related expenditure continues even today. So it has not been discontinued. Had it been discontinued, you will have the suspicion. But when it has not been, why would you have the suspicion in the first place? Or is it being not cared for, or you want to put it in the side and still generate a conversation based on just your apprehensions? I'm not sure if it is a responsible way to approach this issue. Second, sir, if at all, and I'm saying this with a bit of a hesitation, but I want to say this. If at all, sir, there was a Trojan horse as regards J&K, it is Article 335A and Article 370, which were the real Trojan horse, because it was not even made as a part of the constitutional amendment. It was just put in the appendix as though that's also part of the Constitution, but it was not duly brought as a constitutional amendment. But for those who are carrying that Constitution nowadays and showing it, they should explain to us, was that not a deceit? And is that not the Trojan horse to keep J&K not integrated with India? With that done, with that kind of a Trojan horse approach, you're asking us that when we take the burden of J&K police money, so that the J&K administration will have more money to do developmental activity and the center can take the salary of the J&K police, to insinuate that this is being done with an intention of for perpetuity. I'm sorry, this entire approach is making me wonder if this is being done deliberately so that there can be a kind of a, atmosphere created of doubt about India, about India's governance, about India's federal structure. This approach, I'm sorry to say, sir, is not healthy. And to just put it out, to say that this is how we perceive it. You've been in governance for more than 70 years. Not 70, 50, 40 years. I'm sure you understand the significance of what is going on and the way in which that state is being restored back to be a part of India. We belong to a party, sir, which firmly believed from the beginning, from 1947, Ek Desh, Ek Nishan, Ek Vidhan, unlike the Congress party. Sir, and I'm afraid to say, separatists who are self-proclaimed are coming into the Congress party with red carpets thrown for them to come in. Separatists who were the ones who caused permanent and perpetual problem there. Now post 2019, we are at least being able to develop the state even as we are containing terrorism. Whereas now, like earlier, terrorists are being self-proclaimed terrorists are also being welcomed in the Congress party, sir. Sir, therefore,
not yielding. She is not yielding. Mr. Randeep Surjewala, she is not yielding. Okay, go ahead.
Sir,
please,
threat to
let's not have this
federalism.
This side also, please.
Threat to cooperative federalism is a topic on which there's been a lot of discussion based only on the fact that the budget speech mentioned only 2 states and it did not mention other states. Yesterday in the Lok Sabha too, I addressed this matter, sir. I wanted to highlight the fact that total resources allocated to transfer to the states in BE 24-25 is 22,91,182 crores, and that's an increase of 4,93,645 crores over the last year. So, transfer to the states are going unhindered as per the recommendation of the Finance Commission, and I'll further elaborate that when I come to some of the members who have raised questions in particular on that topic. So, sir, in this respect, again, the threat to cooperative federalism issue has been raised by several honorable members, inclusive of former Finance Minister Chidambaram, Jawahar Sirkar, N.R. Elango, Shri Honorable Member Shanmugam, C.V. Shanmugam, and also Muhammad Abdullah. So there are many members who have raised this. And on that, sir, if the inference is that I've spoken about only 2 states and left the others out, it means monies are not even going to those states, is an immediate propaganda after the budget was presented in the House, which was taken up in a big way by the India Alliance. It can't be India Alliance here. India Alliance, or say I.N.D.I.A. India Alliance. Sir, therefore, what is the last A for? How can it be India Alliance?
Mr.
India
Chidambaram.
Alliance.
Mr. Chidambaram, not while sitting.
Sir.
Please, you are a very senior member. Please, and maintain order. She is not yielding.
Sir, if only 2 states were named and others were not, I just want to highlight what happened in the earlier budgets, which were presented by Congress-led UPA. Sir, in the interim budget of 2009-10, only Bihar and Uttar Pradesh were mentioned. All right, they came back to power in 2009-10. Did they increase it? Yes, they increased it. To how many? To 8. Rest 20 states were not even mentioned. Are they clearly going to have to admit now that they did not send any money to 20 states because they didn't mention it in the speech? So, I went back to reading every one of them, sir. 2004-5, only 11 states were mentioned, 17 were not. 10 were mentioned in the next one, 18 were not. So like that, I can go on saying, does that mean during their time, for those states which they did not mention, they didn't send anything to their other states? No, even that wasn't true. They sent money to all states, but only chose to speak about some states. If that is true for them, but it can't be true for me, is it? Protest outside the parliament, say, oh, other states are being ignored. What a deliberate attempt to mislead people. And I condemn that. Sir, I'll just highlight this point, sir, on agriculture allocations. Agriculture allocation has come down, was the allegation, and also a statement made. Several members have spoken on that. Shri Randeep Surjewala ji, Raghav Chadda ji, Rajni Patel ji, Sanjay Yadav ji, and Manoj Kumar Jha ji. I want to highlight, sir, that the budget allocation in 2013-14 for agriculture and farmers' welfare was only 21,934 crores, whereas 24-25 it has increased to 1.23 lakh crores. Over over 5.5 times in a decade. PM Kisan, sir, about which I'll also mention a bit later, more than 3.24 lakh crores has been disbursed to over 11 crore farmers. Institutional credit as a target for agriculture has increased more than 2.5 times since 2014-15, from 8 lakh crores to 20 lakh crores. Interest subsidy, which are given to farmers through Kisan Credit Card, has increased 2.4 times. Has increased 2.4 times since 2014-15, from 6,000 crores to 14,252 crores. KCC now covers animal husbandry and fisheries also. Small and marginal farmers, the number of accounts which are opened for them and they avail agricultural loan has grown from 57% in 2014-15 to 76% in 23-24. Sir, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana was launched in 2016 to provide crop insurance coverage to farmers, and more than 1.5 lakh crores has been dispersed till today to the farmers. Agri-Infra Fund, sir, was launched under Atmanirbhar Bharat package to address existing infrastructure gaps and mobilize investments. More than 35,200 crores have been sanctioned for 48,000 projects under the Agri-Infra Fund. So the money collected, although as a cess, much against the allegation which is levied on us, saying cess money you retain. No, it is getting spent for, here in this case, for agriculture infrastructure creation. More than 23 crore soil health cards have been distributed to farmers, which provides farmers with the nutrient status of their soil and its composition. 1.8 crore farmers and 2.53 lakh traders have been registered on the eNAM portal, which is a national agriculture marketing place. In the last 10 years, more than 11 lakh crore have been spent to provide fertilizers to farmers at affordable prices. Government has also formulated agricultural export policy in 2018 in the country for the first time. This has led to agricultural exports reaching up to 4 lakh crores of rupees. A separate Department of Fisheries has been set up in 2019 and assisting farmers with schemes worth more than 38,000 crores, which have been implemented in the fisheries sector, due to which fish production has increased from 95 lakh metric tons to 175 lakh metric tons, almost double in the last 10 years. Sir, this is where this insurance-related point which I said earlier, I have to repeat. In its 2004 election manifesto, the Congress party promised to implement a comprehensive crop insurance scheme. However, it was not till the NDA, which came to power under Prime Minister Modi, Fasal Bima Yojana was implemented. They could have done it during their time, but no, it waited for a manifesto. But that was 2004 manifesto, and they had 10 years after that. They did not do anything on that. The Congress said it would examine the feasibility of direct income support to farmers. However, it was not till 2019 when Prime Minister Modi gave PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. They state things in their manifesto, it lies in the manifesto. No, they don't implement when they come to power. The failure of their flagship scheme, which is the loan waiver scheme of 2008, has been, I've mentioned this several times, I'm not taking the time of the August House, but the loan waiver scheme was not even fully implemented. In fact, many of the farmers were not given certificate that they've cleared their dues and everything, so that after that they can go and procure the loan from the banks, because without the certificates, bank wouldn't give. 38% farmers hadn't been given the certificate, and they are sitting, loan waiver gaya, loan nahi mila abhi. That is the halat, that is the careless and laid-back fashion with which a sensitive subject like loan waiver had been handled by Congress party. Sir, on health and education, Honorable Member Sanjeev Arora, Sujit Kumar, and also Sagarika Ghosh had raised question. National health policy of NDA targeted only 2.5% of the GDP on health sector. So total allocation under health increased from 88,000 in 23-24 to 89,000 crores in 24, 89,287 crores in 24-25. PM Swasth Suraksha Yojana, under that 15 new All India Institutes of Medical Sciences have been approved, of which 9 projects have been completed starting from 2014. In 10 years, 9 new All India Institute of Medical Sciences have been completed, whilst total of 15 have been given sanction. Similarly, sir, 17 government medical college institutes have been approved, of which 10 projects have been completed. So attention given to health in different forms is what I want to lay before you for the consideration of the House. Sir, PM Jan Arogya Yojana, 34.28 crore Ayushman Bharat cards were issued, 94,225 crores have been authorized for hospital admissions. So the out-of-pocket expense of patients are all being brought down because of the various measures which have been taken out. Under Mission Indradhanush, cumulative total number of children vaccinated is 5.42 crores. Cumulative total number of pregnant women vaccinated is 1.31 crores. So the Pradhan Mantri Dialysis, National Dialysis Program, sir, has been implemented in 748 districts at 1,485 centers, and it deploys 10,077 hemodialysis machines. A total of 23.33 lakh patients have availed of this facility of dialysis. 2.7 crore hemodialysis sessions have been held as of 30th April 2024. "10,000 PM Jan Aushadhi Kendras have been opened, and they provide 30 to 80% cheaper medicines, and medical equipments are also being made available, sir. Sir, on unemployment, several members have spoken. Randeep Surjewala ji, Raghav Chadda, Sanjay Yadav ji, P. Chidambaram ji, Jawahar Sirkar ji, Surjit Kumar, and also Sagarika Ghosh ji. Sir, first of all, I'd like to present before you that our policy is to make youth competent, saksham. For that, we also have brought in this time a package of 5 schemes providing employment in 3, and 1 for skilling and 1 for internship. This package, we hope, together with also 48 crore mudra loans worth 25 lakh crore which have been dispersed, where now we want to increase the 10 lakh limit to 20 lakh. All these put together, we expect there will be a big difference in terms of skilling and internship and for job creation. But the UPA era jobless growth is something which we cannot forget. It hurt India's youth the most because RBI's CLEMS data showed that the total employment declined from 47.2 crores in 2012-13 to 47 crore in 2013-14. And the only period of decline, that remains to be the only period of decline recorded since 1981-82. So when it is declined there, to recover from that, even during that period, not much was done. Formal employment also was badly hit during UPA, especially in the formal manufacturing sector, The annual survey of industries, which is issued by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, showed a sharper percentage decline than ever seen during the worst of COVID pandemic. So even during COVID pandemic, that is not the kind of decline we saw as was seen during UPA's time. So, sir, on the employment, our facts which are given by the PLFS, Periodic Labour Force Survey, shows that the labour market indicators for persons of age 15 years and above have steadily improved from 17-18 to 22-23. Labour force participation has also increased from 49.8% in 17-18 to 57.9% in 22-23. Women's labour force participation has risen to 37% in 22-23 from 23.3% in 17-18. The unemployment rate has declined from 6% in 2017-18 to a low of 3.2% in 22-23. Youth unemployment, that is the age between 15 to 29, has declined sharply from 17.8% in 17-18 to 10% in 22-23. Sir, this is the annual periodic labour force survey report which is given this. And further to reinforce the fact, the SBI research report July 2024, India created 12.5 crore jobs during 14 to 23 compared to 2.9 crores created between 2004 and 14. So the distinct increase in the jobs created during the 10 years under Prime Minister Modi's leadership has to be highlighted, sir. In the last decade, the employability of Indian youth has increased sharply, rising from less than 34% in 2014 to over 51% in 2024, and will further improve it through the PM's package on employment and skilling. So inflation. There's been a lot of discussion on that, sir. I'd like to give the data and also differentiate between the inflation which was present during UPA and our approach towards dealing with inflation now, so that we can see how inflation has been handled both under the UPA and the NDA. So we saw double-digit high inflation period under the UPA because of the policies which were reckless and inappropriate policies were taken on one hand, and inept measures to control inflation on the other. Domestic inflation. So this is a very important statement, sir. Domestic inflation used to be higher than the global average. That is very significant to be noticed. Post the global financial crisis of 2008, UPA government took stimulus measures to boost the economy. The problem arose, and I'm sorry I have to say this, when economists who are repeatedly quoted to us saying, reputed economists, you're not that, when leaders of that stature did not know when and how to withdraw the stimulus which was brought in after the global financial crisis, did not know when to and how to withdraw the stimulus, leading to a high double-digit inflation between 2009 and 13. High fiscal deficit as a result, and debt as a result, crowding out private investment. Sir, between January 2012 and April 2014, retail inflation was more than 9% in 22 out of the 28 months. So let's understand the gravity of this inflation, which we have noticed during that time. No supply-side measures were effectively taken in those days, and as a result, relief, even partial relief, was not available for the consumers. UP inherited a very stable macroeconomic environment. Atalji when his term was over in 2004, had left behind a very strong Indian economy. Inflation was only at 3.8% from 99 to 2000 and to 2003-04. Comparatively, average annual inflation rose to 8.1% between 2004-05 and 2013-14. Where is 3.8% and where is 8.1%, sir? That's their record on inflation handling. High fiscal deficit, decreased prioritization of capital expenditure, and that contributed to sustained high inflation, averaging double digits. For example, sir, India's inflation averaged at 10.1% January to April 2013, compared to the average of 3.9% across all the emerging markets. If emerging markets are countries where we can compare ourselves, they were only at 3.9%, whereas you had UPA keeping our inflation at 10.1%. So, whereas, to contrast this with our period, over the last decade, sir, India's average inflation was only 5.1%, lower than the 5.8% average among the emerging economies. So we are close to it and even lesser than the average of the emerging economies' inflation. That is the difference between UPA's handling of inflation and India's handling of inflation. Sir, Congress means mehengai is something the common man knows as well, because the common man's slogan used to be and continues to be Congress aayi, mehengai lai. This has been the parlance of the normal people. So, Congress matlab mehengai. Sir, I want to
आपको क्या बोलना है? आपका अचीवमेंट क्या है? आपका फिजिकल अचीवमेंट क्या है? आपका फाइनेंशियल अचीवमेंट क्या है?
Sir,
कितने प्रोग्रेस?
okay, sir. Please, sir. Honorable Finance Minister. Honorable Finance Minister, please. Sir, sir. Sir, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, sir. 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 Minister. Sir, please. See, not yielding, sir. See, not yielding.
okay, I'll leave.
Sir, see, not yielding.
Okay,
Sir, sir. Yielded. Okay.
रख के क्या करना चाहिए?
ठीक है. Yes. रुकिए. I hope, sir, there will be peace, calm, and camaraderie in the house, sir.
माननीय सभापति जी, अभी जो एलओपी ने विषय उठाया कि आप अपनी बात करिए और कांग्रेस के ज़माने की बात ना करिए, ये जब भी बजट की चर्चा होती है तो वो हमेशा कंपैरेटिव टर्म्स में होती है, हमेशा हमको बताना पड़ता है।
No. You had all the right to say so. नहीं, what is it, Nasir? You had all the right to, please, no, I don't appreciate it. Sorry, I don't appreciate. No, don't appreciate. What is this? Forget about it. Nothing is going on record. Why are you saying so, sir?
राज्यसभा में आने वाले लोगों के बारे में भी कांग्रेस पार्टी को सोचना चाहिए कि इस हाउस में चर्चा की गरिमा और चर्चा को कैसे आगे बढ़ाना है। मैं यहाँ पर सिर्फ माननीय वित्त मंत्री श्रीमती निर्मला सीतारमन जी जो बात कह रही थी उनके पक्ष में हाउस को ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि बजट रिलेटिव और कंपैरेटिव टर्म्स में बताया जाता है। हमें अगर विकास बताना है तो हमको बताना है कि हम कहाँ से चले और कहाँ पहुँचे। हमको यह भी बताना होता है कि हम किस गति से चले, और हमको यह भी बताना पड़ता है कि हमने एक लॉन्ग लीप ली है। एक लंबी छलांग ली है। और जब हम ये लंबी छलांग लेने की बात करते हैं तो हम अंधकार से उजाले की ओर जाते हैं। और उसका पर्यायवाची जब हम ढूंढेंगे तो 2014 के पहले अंधकार दिखता है और 2014 के बाद उजाला दिखता है।
Honorable Finance Minister, Honorable Minister, no, nothing will go on record. No, not yours. I am asking another minister. Please take your seat. Only Finance Minister will address, please. No, I can't open the debate. The debate is over, please. Please, no, sir. Only Honorable Finance Minister will speak. We have to maintain some decorum in the House, and I am glad we are improving a lot. Please.
Thank you very much, Chairman, sir. Sir, I do take what the Honorable Leader of the Opposition has suggested. What we do today is what I'm highlighting, and therefore also saying something similar of this kind didn't happen then. He may refute it, but it is a matter of fact, and I'm grateful for the intervention of the Leader of the House to state it in his nice Hindi, which I can't speak as well, to say what exactly it was. Getting out of Andhakar to go into Acha Roshni Wala, and that's what is happening now. So,
Honorable Finance Minister, but your Hindi is not bad.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Sir.
Please.
Sir.
Please. Honorable Finance Minister, please.
Sir, it is not just me who's talking about what had not happened then, and it's not just me who's talking about what kind of things had happened then. I'm saying what not happened then and what kinds of things happened then, based on eminent people and their words. Take, for example, what one former governor of Reserve Bank had to say. And I'm quoting, I'm not taking his name. I don't know if it is permitted, because I think people who are not members of this House you should not name and so on. So I will just say former governor of Reserve Bank. In his book he says, and I quote, "The finance ministry used to pressurize the RBI to soften interest rates and present a rosier picture of the growth to shore up sentiments. You were not able to perform in the economy, managing the inflation, giving stimulus to growth and leading the country to have better growth, but you're asking the RBI to give a rosy picture so that the sentiments don't get affected, because that sentiment and the kind of impact it was having on the economy is where we went to being Fragile 5. And Fragile 5 economy is a fact which was before them, but they couldn't act on it. Instead, they put pressure on Reserve Bank. So what you need to do constructively, you don't do. On the contrary, you do such things. And I'm not saying it. Reputed, respected, former bureaucrat who was also the governor of Reserve Bank has written it. So I want to just highlight, sir, whereas what kind of efforts we have made to keep inflation under control is something which I want to say now for members who have been very keen to know what is happening today. I'm telling you what is happening today. Please make a note of it. Sir, we implemented measures.
Mr. Basu, I'm coming to what I said.
Sir, we implemented measures leading to a reduced average inflation of 4.5% in 14-15 to 2018-19, well within the RBI's target range of 2 to 6%. Sir, moreover, India's inflation during 2020 and 23 was much lower than the global average. So I want to highlight why it was so. Because competent and proactive measures were undertaken by the government to control inflation, and we managed to contain inflation at 5.7% from 2019-20 to 23-24, despite challenges. which were unforeseen, and the size and the magnitude of COVID was something which all over the world, even today, has tarnished the economies, and they are not able to come out of it, whereas we have managed to be closer to the tolerance band given by RBI. Many countries faced 3 or 4 decade high double-digit inflation after the COVID pandemic. So I just want to list out the 5-year terms and the inflation rates which have prevailed. These are numbers which are already in public domain, but it's useful for us to compare so that we know what are policy-induced internal factors which drove UPA's inflation as different from NDA's inflation, which is largely driven by a pandemic and because of the global disruptions. So the difference between the inflation then and the inflation now are very clearly before us. NDA's period, sir, 5 years between 1999 and 2004, retail inflation was only 3.8%. UPA 1, 5 years, it was 6%. UPA 2, 10.2%. So if you were to take 10 years of UPA 1 and 2, it was 8%, 8.1%. NDA 1, sir, between 14 to 19, 4.5%. NDA 2, 5.7%, sir. NDA 1 and 2 put together, 10 years, 5.1% inflation. Where is 5.1 and where is 8.1, sir, of the 10 years then, 10 years now? So we need to understand that even when very important steps were taken, like cutting down on the excise duty of petrol and diesel by the Honorable Prime Minister, twice, once in November and once in June of 23, November of 22, every state tried to reduce. But for political scoring of a point, Congress-ruled states did not. And even then and now, the inflation in those states, even if the change of government has happened, continues to be higher, and efforts to contain them is even being taken now also. They just didn't want to cut down. On the contrary, if I remember correct, our president and the leader of the House here is from Himachal Pradesh. The first thing the government did there after being elected was to increase the price of petrol and diesel. Now, the cry for inflation in this House, questions on what action you're taking to contain inflation. Congress government in Himachal Pradesh, a small state, increases the price, and here the lecture is about contain the prices, bring it down. Congress can do that. So was the effort, so was it in Karnataka. So, inflation and containment measures may be questions on us, and we are willing to answer. But what about those states which are being governed by Congress, sir? The steps that we've taken, the steps that we have taken to control inflation, sir, strategic policies for targeting inflation have been taken. PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana is to make sure that people get the bottommost layer, poorest people get their grains at least, so that they can have some kind of assurance that they have something to feed their family with. Government continuously offloads wheat and rice from the central pool under the open market sale scheme to increase availability in the market, steps that we are taking. To prevent hoarding and unscrupulous speculation, traders and wholesalers, big chain retailers, and processors were required to disclose their stock positions of wheat and rice. We follow them, we pursue with them, and then ensure that the stocks are coming into the market. Under the price stabilization fund, sir, a dynamic buffer stock of pulses is maintained, and calibrated release of stocks contain the price, and we keep procuring to increase the buffer stock. Basic duty on crude palm oil, crude soya bean oil, and crude sunflower oil was cut from 2.5% to nil, so that crude oil can come into India, edible crude oil, and that can be refined, creating jobs, at the same time making edible oil available in the country. The agri cess on oils was reduced from 20% to 5%. So we are reducing the revenues that we are earning, but making sure people get affordable price commodities which are important. On January 15th, 2024, this duty structure has been extended to 31st March 2025. So edible oil can be distributed with affordable prices, sir. We have also taken measures to make sure basic items like atta, rice, chana dal and moong dal are distributed in the Bharat Atta, Bharat Rice and Bharat Chana Dal and Moong Dal branded so that they can be sold at affordable prices. Per kg cost of atta is 27 rupees 50 paise. Per kg rice is 27.50. Chana is 60 rupees a kg. And Bharat Moong Dal is at 107 a kg, 93 for Sabut Moong Dal. These are being sold. 14.87 lakh tons have been sold of atta, 13.98 lakh tons of rice, 11.52 lakh tons of chana dal, and 2,984.37 tons of moong dal, both put together, Sabut and Dula Hua, are sold, which means people are benefiting from the wholesale distribution which is under the brand Bharat. So therefore, sir, I want to make sure that the efforts taken by this government to contain inflation are informed to the honorable members, and they know that we are taking the necessary steps. Quickly on Poshan Abhiyan, sir, and Saksham Anganwadi, the question which Sujit Kumarji from BJD had raised. Poshan and Saksham Anganwadi allocations have only increased and not come down. 20,554 crores in 23-24 to 21,200 crores in 24-25. On per capita income also, RJD Sanjay Yadavji has questioned. Sir, per capita income at constant prices grew at an average rate of 4% during 2012-13 to 2013-14. In all subsequent to those 2 years, except in 2019-20 and 2021, which were the pandemic years, the growth in per capita income at constant prices was higher than 2012-13 and 13-14. I can just read it out at constant prices, sir. 12-13 is 3.3, 13-14 is 4.6, and so on, except when in 2021 it was minus 8.9, it has recovered to be 5.7 now. So per capita income issue is also something I want to address. So this is a very important issue which has been raised, that arbitrarily we've been cutting the borrowing ceilings of non-BJP states. Sir, I want to completely dispel this baseless argument. Central government follows the recommendation of the 15th Finance Commission for issuing borrowing consent financial year-wise uniformly to all states. Net borrowing ceilings of 3% of GSDP has been fixed for the financial year 24-25. Borrowing consent is issued to all states by adopting uniform parameters as per borrowing guidelines. There's no difference here. All of them are treated the same. Moreover, the 15th Finance Commission has also recommended performance-based additional borrowing space of 0.5 of GSDP. This is linked to the performance in power sector reforms. List of states, sir, which have fulfilled the requisite criteria related to power sector reforms and availed additional borrowing space of 0.5% of GSDP, I'd like to present before you, sir. In 21-22, 22-23, and 23-24. Example, West Bengal, 6,911. These are additional borrowing over and above the 3% which is given unconditionally. 6,911 for 21-22, 8,352 for 22-23.
It is in crores or
7,200
This figure is in what?
crores.
Crores.
Crores, sir. Sorry, thank you. So 6,911 crores, 8,352 crores, 7,276 crores for 21-22, 22-23, 23-24. If that is West Bengal, sir, Tamil Nadu, 7,054, 21-22 crores, 5,775 crores, 9,656 crores. Additional borrowing allowed each year because of power sector reforms. That is Tamil Nadu, sir. Kerala, 4,060 crores, 21-22. 4,263 crores, 22-23. 4,866 crores, 23-24. Additional borrowing permission and availed these amounts are on record. Now, Himachal Pradesh is just now, so I can't give the figures straight away. 251 crores was allowed in 21-22, but we've not had any claim after that. I can read that for other states as well. So there is no arbitrariness here. On the Kerala issue, sir, I can't find Honorable Member John Brittas, because he did raise this issue in between when I was speaking. He's not here. But never mind, I'll say, sir, on the Kerala issue, sir, Honorable Supreme Court has also mentioned to the state to resolve the matter amicably with the centre. It implicitly supported the stand of the centre. They didn't say centre is wrong. Thank you.
Don't take your seat. Take your seat. Take it. No, you are here, but not to interrupt, to listen. But sit down, sit down. Sit down. No, your name was referred because you were absent. Now that you are present, you will follow the decorous conduct. Please. No. This is not done. You are an experienced person. Sit down.
So on the Kerala issue, sir.
And Honorable Minister, a word of suggestion.
Yes, sir.
Next time, be careful.
Oh, right.
While naming Dr. John Brittas. Because if you name him, he claims a right.
Oh, right.
And you... Well, I don't want to name anyone.
So on the Kerala issue, sir, Honorable Supreme Court has actually mentioned that the state should go amicably settle the matter as regards borrowing. The Supreme Court did not imply that there's wrongdoing or a malafide. If I can infer it, sir, implicitly supported the stand of the centre. I'll quote just one small paragraph, sir. The plaintiff state, Kerala, has failed to establish the three prongs of proving prima facie case: balance of convenience and irreparable injury. State of Kerala is not entitled to interim injunction as prayed. So the subject of Article 293, whether the centre should do it, should take an oversight mechanism, all this may be enough.
Please maintain decorum. No. Please take your seat. Please, only an interruption for, please, Honorable Finance, please continue. Please continue. Dr. John Brittas, don't make it a habit. Please.
Sir.
Please. Okay.
I want to just pick on the word he uttered, sir. Sir, Honorable Member John Brittas, I wanted to refer to him because he was not here. You were gracious enough to say, oh, he's come, you talk about it. Then there was this little banter about whether he gets a right to... I have not mentioned anything about him till now, but he would, in the interest of his state, want to speak something. But to imply that I'm picking and choosing to my convenience is because he has not heard what I said earlier, or not even was here to hear what borrowing, additional borrowing over and above the 3% which is given unconditionally has been given to Kerala over the 3 years. He was not even He was not even here to hear it. And then to say, no, she's picking and choosing. No, I've given a comprehensive picture of what the additional borrowing is, which is a conditional borrowing. But earlier, the 3% was completely given, was all said, sir. Unfortunately, John Britta's honourable member was not here. Now to say she's picking and choosing, no. I've given the whole story and I'm picking and choosing one line, which is important for establishing centre's credibility.
One second. Honourable Finance Minister.
Based on the Constitution.
Honourable Finance, what I find is Dr. John Brittas makes impact when he is absent, makes impact when he is present. Now, take your seat. Honourable Finance Minister.
Sir.
No. This is never done, sir. You know it more than I do. Please, sir. No.
Sir, based on the constitutional provisions.
Please, go ahead. Please.
Sir, based on the constitutional provisions, sir, the government
I can't restart
of India...
the debate. I say, okay. Normally, when I ask a speaker to look at me, then I thought it is best to have eye contact also. Please, go ahead.
I'm following the rules, sir.
Yes. No, the leader of the opposition has appreciated you.
Thank you very much.
Please go ahead.
Sir, based on the constitutional provisions, sir, the government of India adopts a rule-based system. This ensures fairness to all states and no deviation is entertained because of presumed entitlements or presumed prejudices that may prevail. No, we follow as per the Finance Commission's So they related somewhat to this was this question on tax devolution to states is less than what is recommended by Finance Commission, a point that Sri N.R. Elango from DMK had raised. I'm not sure he's here. And you also have Honorable Member, Senior Member Tiruchi Shiva. I want to take a minute on this one, sir. We've heard members raising this voice that centre does not devolve actually 42% or the 41% post-J&K becoming union territory. I want to clarify on this a bit. Finance Commission, sir, recommends devolution of taxes as a percentage of net proceeds as defined in Article 279 of the Constitution. Net proceeds. Net proceeds is calculated after deducting cesses, surcharges, and cost of collection from the gross tax receipts. So the first matter is gross tax receipt. From there you remove cesses, surcharges, and the cost of collection, and then you arrive at net proceeds, and it is from the net proceeds is the devolution of 41% or 42%. Sir, it is wrong to calculate devolution based on gross tax receipts and then claim that the centre is devolving less than what is suggested by the Finance Commission to the states, because the mandated amount, which is 41%, is based on net proceeds and not the gross tax receipts. So it should be noted, sir, the devolution is not a percentage of GTR, but it is a percentage of the net proceeds. Centre has always given the prescribed percentage from the net proceeds without fail to the states. And who arrives at the net proceeds? Does the centre decide the amount? No. The net proceeds are certified by the CAG. It is that amount which the CAG gives you as net proceeds is this much. So on this, you will devolve 41% to the states. So I cannot choose saying net proceed is only this much and not another. That is done by the CAG. Every year it does. It's not as if it is done 1 year. Net proceeds is decided by the CAG every year. And also, I want to highlight this point because I want to elaborate on that for 1 minute. This is decided by CAG every year, and if there are any dues pending to the states, it is also immediately released. Now, with this said, I want to highlight and draw your attention, Chairman, sir, Deputy Chairman, sir. I want to inform the members that our government has devolved 82,000 crores as a part of the tax devolution after obtaining the CAG certificate in March 22. So what is special about it? I'm claiming that every year I'm giving it in time. So why am I mentioning only this 82,000? Sir, from 1996-97 to 2014, when Prime Minister Modi comes in, between 96 to 2014, there was a due, accumulated due of 82,000 crore on tax devolution, which was not devolved. And no government in between had taken a call on it. We cleared it after the CAG gave the certificate in March 22. 82,000 crores pending from 96. No, you're not giving me 42 as per. You go on a wrong calculation on not net proceeds but on GTR. And also not recognize the fact, भैया 96 से जो pending है, उसका भी हम clear कर रहे हैं 22 में. States को कैसे मोदी जी अलग तरीके से डील करते हैं सर? नहीं करते हैं. वो भी चीफ मिनिस्टर रहे हैं, उनको मालूम है स्टेट्स का दिक्कत. हर पैसा हमने समय पर दे रहे हैं और 82,000 करोड़ जो पेंडिंग था फ्रॉम 96 उसको भी हमने ही क्लियर कर दिया. Sir, almost at the end, sir. Sir, former finance minister, probably in the concluding stage of his speech, I was also here hearing him, had said, I've got 5 questions for which I want the finance minister to answer. And the 5 questions pertain to minimum wages, legal guarantee, education loan waiver, abolition of Agniveer, scrapping of NEET. I just want to give a very quick response to each one of these points. Sir, minimum wages of 400 a day. Sir, I'm referring to the Honorable former Finance Minister, sir, who had raised 5 questions and wanted us to answer. Sorry, sir, 1 minute.
I think, but the best that has happened is the Honorable Finance Minister has not taken the... No.
So,
No. The Honorable Minister is also appointed, but not this occasion.
400.
Not this occasion. Yes, not you. There is another Honorable Minister behind you.
Oh, okay.
So my problem is I'll have to find some mechanism. If there are Honorable Ministers and the second one rises, then if I tell one, the other one may misunderstand it. Honorable Minister, please.
Yes, sir, I'm just responding, sir.
Well, I'm not addressing the Honorable Finance Minister. Yes. Mr. Thavle, please. For the चलो कम से कम आपने ऐसी चर्चा तो की जो थोड़ा सी हंसी मजाक की हुई. Otherwise, you are very serious when you make an observation.
Sir, he raised 5 questions.
Please, Honorable Minister. No, I will not allow. If I had to allow, I would have allowed leader of opposition. I will not allow anyone.
He had raised 5 questions, sir, on which He said, why can't 400 rupees be declared as the minimum wages per day? Sir, I think he is talking about Manrega Act, and through which declare a minimum wage of 400. I just want to highlight on that presumption that Manrega Act of 2005, sir, Section 6(1) of the Act says, notwithstanding anything contained in the Minimum Wages Act 1948, the central government may, by notification, specify the wage rate for the purposes of the Act. It says that. And says, provided, that's a proviso, provided that different rates of wages may be specified for different areas. I also think because, probably because it was mentioned in the Congress manifesto, I'm a bit hazy on it, but his demand was 400 rupees per day minimum wage. Why won't you want to declare it? So I want to highlight, sir, the Rural Development Ministry, which deals with Manrega, since UPA time, has been declaring the minimum wage, and these are decided based on changes in the CPI-AL, that is Consumer Price Index Agricultural Labor, which reflects inflation in rural areas. It's based on that every year some kind of a notification comes. This has been the practice since 2005 to 2014. Our government has also followed the same principle. I don't know if I can use this saying in the English language. What is sauce for goose is the sauce for gander as well. One is therefore tempted, sir, to ask the form of FM, what prevented the UPA from notifying a uniform wage rate under the Manrega when it was in power? They didn't do it then. But now, if he is quoting the Manrega Act and demanding that Government of India declare 400 rupees as minimum wage, I would want to also highlight, and I'm sure being a legal mind, he would be aware of this nuance. The Minimum Wages Act of 1948 also empowers the states to fix minimum wages with respect to categories, various categories of employment, unskilled employment, and so on. So in the states, minimum wages are again fixed differently for different states. So permit me for a minute, sir. So, Minimum Wages Act, sir, yes, are fixed by states for different kind of employments, just as Government of India also fixes minimum wages for railways or the mines or many other things which come under its subject. For example, sir, I'm taking the example of Karnataka. State government notifies 4 different zones to fix minimum wages for unskilled workers. Zone 1 is for Bangalore city and the city corporation area. Zone 2 is for district headquarters and in the various districts, and so on. In the state of Himachal Pradesh, I would like to draw your attention, sir. In the state of Himachal Pradesh, as per the latest notification, or latest in this subject, which was issued in May 23, it was issued by the state government that unskilled wage earners will get a 375 rupees minimum wage.
1 second, Honorable. I must appreciate your fairness. You touch the state of the leader of the opposition, and next you are touching the state of leader of the House. So that even balancing has taken place. And I am privileged to be chairman at a time when this House has presidents of the 2 leading parties in the country, the largest democracy. Honorable Finance Minister.
So, if wages are to be fixed by different states at different levels and for even within a state different zones, It's difficult to think of how the central government can fix a wage of 400 rupees and also say, therefore, it should be done for the entire country. Sir, also, it must have been a slip of the tongue. I don't want to pick on it, but I'm very tempted, sir. In a speech, I think he claimed that he travels 500,000 kilometers by road every month. Must have been 500,000.
We can overlook it. This does happen sometimes.
If it was wrongly heard, I want
I'll tell you.
All
the
right.
leader of the House made a mention of 7 crore and he quickly corrected that it was 7 lakhs. So from that we can ignore.
All right. So education loans. He had a question to ask on education loans. So we have already announced measures for education loans in this budget for helping our youth who have not been eligible for any benefit under government schemes or policies. We have announced a financial support of 10 lakh for higher education within the country. E-vouchers for this purpose will be given directly to 1 lakh students every year for an annual interest subvention of 3% to the loan amount, of the loan amounts. Sir, he also asked a question about Agniveer scheme. I wanted to highlight, sir, former finance minister has served as also former home minister. I'm sure he understands the nuance involved in national security. Agniveer is a very reformative step to enhance the capabilities and battle readiness of our armed forces. It ensures actually that we have fit soldiers who are on the front line. So one of the expected outcomes of the scheme is that armed forces will have much younger force by recruiting those in the age group of 17.5 years to 21 years and retaining only 25%, thus reducing the average age of the Indian soldier. Why should we do it, sir? In countries like the US and the UK, soldiers are required to render only 2 of the 6 years in service because they want to keep the young, fit, and agile person at the borders. I hope on matters related to the fitness and battle readiness of the Indian Army or the armed forces, we don't do politics, sir, because it is something which is going to be critical for this country. We need young, fit, and battle-ready young people who are going to be trained. In fact, I was going to bring in here one of the news items which had come in the last 2 days about how, in terms of fitness and in terms of skills acquired, which are so required at the borders, Agniveer people have come out with flying colors. Studies have proved it. So this is a scheme which is very important, and we need to have greater sense of looking at the national interest rather than just take policies on some other consideration. I'd like to remind, sir, when in 2014 Prime Minister Modi reviewed the situation, I got into defense only later in 17, and therefore with some interest I went back to look at also the earlier periods. 2014, Indian armed forces, particularly the army, didn't even have bulletproof vests. We had to panic buy and give them. And in that, the role of Manohar Parrikar ji, Arun Jaitley ji, to make quick procurements, and we had to procure it from elsewhere. But today, in our country, we produce bulletproof vests which are good enough for our army, and they feel that it has given them the sense of security. Not just bulletproof vests, sir, it is also a truth that in India, at that time, for 10 years, major defense procurements did not happen. And this is not a fiction that I'm telling you. In the House, Defense Minister then had said we can't procure it because we don't have the money. So Agniveer is a scheme which we brought in with great sense of commitment to keep our armed forces battle ready. And young and fit people get into the army, and I don't think there's a need for us to unnecessarily worry that this is causing some kind of a distortion. Not at all. It is with the acceptance of the armed forces that it has been brought in. Sir, he is also, I think I've addressed the 4 issues that he had raised. The 5th one is NEET. So, Honorable former Minister, he's a lawyer. Probably he spoke one day before the final judgment came from Supreme Court on the NEET. One day before he spoke, and therefore the verdict which was given by the Supreme Court, he probably wouldn't have been aware. The Supreme Court did not scrap NEET exams. It observed that there is no material at the present stage to indicate any systemic leak. That's about the NEET exam leakages. But abolition of NEET, I'm afraid to say, was triggered even before the leak issue came up. So I want to highlight some of the features, sir. NEET exam was notified. When was it notified? For the benefit of all our members. When was NEET notified? In 2010, December 2010, with its implementation. Who was leading the implementation at that time? It was led by the then DMK Minister Gandhi Selvan, who served as MOS for Health and Family Welfare as part of the Congress-led UPA 2 government. So it was brought at that time. The Supreme Court, while talking about the NEET, didn't take care of it. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Please.
And that is why it is running even now with the stay. Sir, I want him to not interrupt with misunderstandings.
Mr. Wilson.
This is undone. UPA, in 2012, the UPA 2.0 introduced NEET undergraduate for medical examinations as well, medical admissions. And 2013, the first exam took place. All during UPA 2013, the exam took place. When the Gazette notification of 20th December 2010 was challenged in the Supreme Court, both the lawyers of the Medical Council of India and UPA's Additional Solicitor General of India defended NEET. When it was challenged in the Supreme Court, December 20 was the time when Gazette notification was issued, and that Gazette was challenged in the Supreme Court. That time, both the lawyers of Medical Council of India and the ASG of UPA government defended NEET, saying this was an effort to streamline the admission process. Sir? Sir, therefore, sir, the ASG then stated that the earlier system of multiple examinations was neither in the national interest nor in the interest of maintaining the standards of medical education, nor did it serve the interest of the poor middle-class students who had to buy forms of several examinations and travel across the country to appear in the examination. Multiple examinations they had to take. NEET does not, sir, disadvantage anyone. NEET does not disadvantage anyone. It expands opportunities. Sir, Tamil Nadu students secure 85% of the seats with 69% reservation, which is upheld in Tamil Nadu. With that reservation intact, and with this process of NEET, 85% seats, which is 85% of the seats within Tamil Nadu, and 15% of all seats from all states put together, they can go for the 15% seats to any state that they want. So, Tamil students benefit from All India quota in other states also. Now, when former finance minister is talking about NEET, I also want to underline this fact, sir. 2011, when the DMK rule concluded, Tamil Nadu had just 1,945 medical seats. Presently, there are 10,425 medical seats, a remarkable surge of 8,480 seats in the past 11 years. Sir, therefore, NEET has ensured cost-effective medical education for families. Certainly, it has hurt some vested interests, particularly those in the medical education field, because no longer selling of medical seats is possible. And therefore, it has hurt a lot of people. That is why a particular lobby was actively against NEET even before this NEET leak issue has come up. Sir, in the year 22-23, 12,997 Tamil Nadu government school students wrote the NEET exam, and of them, 3,982 students passed it. It is noteworthy that the pass percentage has increased from 27% in the last year to 31%. So I want to say, sir, only before NEET came in, only a few students from few schools in selected regions of Tamil Nadu could get medical seats. Now it is across the board. There are, of course, I don't know if you will permit me, government schools. I want to take the name of few government schools students from Tamil Nadu belonging to very humble backgrounds and rural areas who have passed the NEET examination over the last few years. I'll take the names, sir. Young girl Kanimuri, Needur Mailadurai, daughter of a laborer, Kooli Tholilali in Korandai, and temporary taxi driver. He works also as a temporary taxi driver. She got in 2023. Annapurani from a place called Singam Punari, Sivaganga district, the district from where our former finance minister hails. That girl has also managed to come in. She's the daughter of a construction worker, 2023 again. Arivu Nidhi, Vrali Malai is the place from where she is qualified, which is in Pudukkottai district. Son of a laborer, and he is also a Kooli Tholilali in 2023. Divya Bharati in a place called Talavadi in Erode districts. Daughter of a laborer, again a Kooli Tholilali in 2023. Kavi Arasan from Karambakudi in Pudukkottai district, son of a farm laborer. Jeevit Kumar Periyakulam Theni, son of a goat rearer, shepherd. In 2020, Kavi Priya from Chayyar, sir, daughter of a farmer, 2022. Santanam from Dharmapuri, son of a farm laborer, 2022. Ramya from Karamadai in Coimbatore. She's a scheduled tribe, a particular tribe which is very disadvantaged in Tamil Nadu called Irular. She is a Irular candidate, daughter of a laborer. Yes, budget, because the former finance minister asked about it. I'm duty bound to answer. Sir, I may get the name wrong, the last candidate who I want to say, Karamadai, Coimbatore, Pirisika. I may be wrong with the name. She's the daughter of a tailor. Now, are these not success stories of NEET? Are these not students from rural areas? Are these not students who belong to the lower strata? Construction workers, coolie workers, farmers, taxi drivers, their children are coming through, sir, NEET. Sir,
please, nothing will go on record, Mr. Vasan. You are a very senior man. No, nothing.
Sir, I come to the last point, sir. I conclude. I come to the last point.
Please. No. All honorable finance.
The last point, sir.
Take your seat. Please, nothing is going on record.
Sir,
Honorable member,
former finance minister.
I am extremely intelligent when you speak. But when finance minister speaks, no, she is not yielding. No, no.
Sir,
please take your seat.
These are
Mr.
5
Tiruchi
questions.
Shiva has done the right thing. Please take your seat. Please, please.
Sir,
Okay, go ahead.
the debate has happened. All members have spoken. Specific 5 questions which have been, whoever member was allowed by the chair spoke. Whoever member was allowed by the chair spoke. 5 questions specifically was asked by the former finance minister. I'm giving him answers. I wish, with your support, I hope all members can at least listen to the answers that I want to give.
Please, ma'am.
Sir, the last point. The last point, sir.
Last.
Former finance minister asked a couple of questions. Again, most members are saying, what has this got to do with budget? Why do you want to answer on this? Why do you want to answer on that? But it was a question raised. I don't know if it is related to budget, but because during the budget debate it was raised, I'm answering. Questions were raised. And I'm quoting the finance minister from the YouTube which comes of the debate in the Rajya Sabha. I quote, sir, I ask, why does the UPSC have to play a role in the appointment of the DGP of a state? Why should a state government not appoint the vice chancellor of state universities? Unquote. Sir, I'm just wanting to say, of course, people can say, why are you answering? It's not budget. But why was he asking? Because it's not budget, so I'm answering here. Sir, I am indeed appalled that a very respected senior advocate, I'm not an advocate with due respect.
All senior advocates are respectable.
Yes, yes. So, he has raised a question saying...
And you may not be aware, Honorable Finance Minister, I am a senior advocate under suspension. No, Mr. Prabhat Patel, I am a senior advocate and Bhupendra Yadav knows under suspension because if you hold an office like this, your sanadhi is suspended during that period. So I suffered, leader of the opposition, 2 things in 2019 when President issues warrant. Now imagine warrant to a senior advocate appointing me as governor. This led to suspension of my sanadh also. So you have respect, I'm sure, for all senior advocates, whether under suspension like me, not otherwise.
Sir. Sure, sir. Sir. Sir, I'm actually appalled because...
No, but the Honorable Finance Minister, former Finance Minister, had raised 2 very valid questions.
Yes, sir.
One, why should
UPSC...
in the appointment of DGP, UPSC should come into picture? And same he said about Vice Chancellors.
Yes, sir.
So you say you want to respond?
I would want to respond.
Please go ahead.
Sir, Honorable Finance Minister, former Finance Minister, has used this platform of vibrant democracy. I think he's misrepresented the situation to an extent that it goes contrary to the judicial verdict of the Supreme Court itself. So on both counts, sir, guidelines which have emanated from the Honorable Supreme Court are very clear. On this issue of DGP appointments, sir, as to why the UPSC has to play a role, I just want to highlight, it was in this case of Prakash Singh and others versus the Union of India, 2006. This case was decided by the Supreme Court on 22nd September 2006. And it directed in the following words, quote, the Director General of Police of the state shall be selected by the state government from amongst the 3 senior-most officers of the department who have been empaneled for promotion to that rank by the Union Service Commission, Union Public Service Commission. The state picks up on 3 candidates, sends the panel, and it is the UPSC which decides. This is the verdict of the Supreme Court in that police reform related case, which was another policeman, Prakash Singh, and others have gone to the Supreme Court, and in that it clearly says that it is the UPSC. One, sir. Second.
1 second.
On the...
1 second. What is your point of order? Come to the point of order, don't make a speech.
Wait, sir.
1 second.
If Supreme Court decided yardstick is the criteria, why has the government not followed it in the case of Election Commission of India?
Sir,
Please.
Sir, Regulation 7.3 of UGC, minimum qualification for appointment of teachers and other academic staff in university and colleges, and measures for the maintenance of standards in higher education. Regulations 2018 provides for the minimum qualifications of a VC selection procedure and the appointment procedure. In case of a conflict between the state legislation and the central legislation, in case of a conflict between state legislation and the central legislation shall prevail by applying the rule principle of repugnancy. By applying the rule principle of repugnancy as enunciated in Article 254 of the Constitution. Therefore, any appointment, sir, you're a senior advocate. I'm talking to you even though I'm not an advocate. I'm sure you're going to be conscious of what I'm talking. It's very well for the members to be conscious, but don't they trust in you? You're the chairman of the House, but more importantly, you're a senior advocate of the Supreme Court, who's also the chairman of the House. I wish the members give you that much of trust and faith in what they are doing. Therefore, sir, any appointment of the as a Vice Chancellor, contrary to the provision of the UGC regulations, can be said to be in violation of the statutory provisions, warranting a writ of quo warranto, unquote. Sir, how can we therefore countenance a former finance minister coming to the people at large and talking about dilution of federalism, when it is clear that when there is a conflict between the two, the central legislation is the one which is going to prevail, and that is Article 254. So, therefore, sir, I just want to highlight that a field which is occupied by the judgment of the Supreme Court in these matters, to which, by virtue of being a senior advocate, the Honourable former Finance Minister should be more aligned with the judgment. I wish to indicate to the House that these judgments and the spirit which is caught in these judgments are very important. And therefore, when he is referring to why should the DG be appointed, why should the Vice Chancellor be appointed by the UGC and so on, there is so much of legal material available. Even if the honourable members are suggesting contradictory judgments are there or judges are reconsidering, all that apart, when even those are taken on board, when it is sub judice even on a different bench, when it is so clearly being legally scrutinized, how can we come here and say, no, it has to be done, why should the state? No, sir. These are matters being taken up, as the Honourable Member Wilson is highlighting. Yes, these are being taken up by the courts. But here to come and assert a final word is amazing. Thank you very much, sir.